all with inclusive airtime, starting from £15 a month. And should your usage change, by allowing you to switch freely between price plans. So the more minutes you use, the cheaper your calls become. If you pay £50 a month, you get 200 minutes of calls included, and any additional calls start from only 9p a minute. Call 0800 286 286. The future's bright. The future's orange.
ER. Good drama, like good health, is always worth a second opinion.
ER captures how busy life in A&E can be. Clear!
If the doctors and nurses were that good looking, it would be very difficult to keep our mind on resuscitation.
Tell him that you don't think about me when you're with him.
Our jobs are demanding and rewarding, just like ER.
It's okay, you're safe here.
Pretty cool.
I want a second opinion.
ER. The diagnosis for Wednesday nights at 10 looks good on 4.
Now on Meridian, real-life emergency drama as Michael Aspel presents Caught on Camera.
Caught on camera tonight, for this yacht, it's Mayday. The families who stay to watch a tornado too long, and the firefighter who'll try to save any life. Hello, this is Caught on Camera, real-life stories of people in amazing situations. What would you do if you were at sea, your engine broke down, and a wave like this, taller than a house, was heading straight for you? Mal Dixon, his wife Shez and daughter Lee, who was nearly 2, were sailing off the east coast of Australia. Sailing is Mal's passion in life. It's one of the reasons he left his native Manchester and emigrated.
I came to Australia because I'd heard a fair bit about the sunny weather and the sailing. The idea of the yacht, of course, was to be a bit closer to my family.
I was nearly 5 months pregnant, so I was down below with our young daughter, Lee.
Unbeknownst to me, these shipping charts I had were a little bit out of date, and I was in a channel which was very little used, and the sandbanks had built up. Swells just kept on getting bigger and bigger and bigger, and the yacht was bobbing around just like a cork. I'd never used the safety harness before. They decided to put it on, and the safety harness is a rope around the body and stops you from being separated from the boat if you do happen to get thrown in the water.
Mal shouted down to hang on tight, so I harnessed Lee into her bunk so she couldn't be thrown around too much, and I sort of cuddled onto it.
The seas were becoming mountainous, like the size of a house. I then called up the air sea rescue.
The yacht had radioed for help, but the directions were inaccurate. The yacht was caught by the surf, and it was unbelievable what happened.
It was just monstrous. Things going in slow motion. You can see it about to happen, and then it happens. I was thrown into the water, and I went round with the boat.
It's sort of like a roller coaster ride where you're turning upside down and you close your eyes so that you can't see. The noise was terrifying, things flying around the boat.
I got back on board very, very quickly because there's a lot of sharks in that water. We were very lucky. We had our harnesses on. That saved my life. And it certainly saved Shez's life from being bashed around down below as well, and Lee, our daughter.
That's all we could do was wait for help.
Seemed like forever that we waited. I started to look around me then, and I saw the helicopters up in the air. I realised that they were news helicopters and that they couldn't help us.
It was a bit frustrating that they couldn't actually help us, but just hoped that they'd be able to direct the lifeboats to us.
We were chasing after choppers. We saw the boat and we looked around and saw some ginormous waves. We got through the first one. The second one come through, and at this stage we'd lost power. Next thing you know, we were looking at a third one, which was almighty big. And
then next minute Mel said, "Oh no, they've gone over too."
They were in worse trouble than we were, because at least we were the right way up. And then Tom Ward did something I'll never forget. It was a brilliant piece of flying.
I had to give up the role of a TV helicopter and go down and rescue the two crewmen from the life raft.
I knew it was dangerous for us, but it was even more so dangerous for him. We thought, oh, well, he's going to give it a go, so we'll give it a go.
The helicopter came down and Colin jumped for the skid. I could see that he wasn't going to make it.
He came down for another try, and this time he did it perfect.
When the helicopter came down for the other lifeboat guy, but his skid hit the upturned lifeboat, and he ended up about 100 foot in the air before they pulled him into the helicopter. And after the news helicopter had rescued, the guys at the second lifeboat appeared and took our boat with Shez, Lee and myself in tow.
I breathed a great sigh of relief and was just so happy that we were all safe.
Even after all that, Mal Dixon wasn't put off sailing. He had the yacht repaired and the family went straight back out to sea. No one should ever underestimate the forces of nature. You're about to see how a tornado formed right alongside a helicopter in which a TV crew were flying.
This is really spectacular. There are flash fires on all the high-tension wires.
It was definitely a sight that you go, wow. Zoomed in. It was ripping around this group of trees, slowly popping them out of the ground one at a time. It was just making toothpicks out of these trees.
Debris picked up by the tornado hit the helicopter's rotor blades.
I'm going to have to leave this area here. The debris is drifting my way.
Then there were flashes of lightning.
The lightning was the only thing that really frightened me, because there was no time between the flash of light and the thunder that close.
What Tom Empey filmed that day has given scientists a new understanding of tornadoes.
No one has ever flown that close and got a bird's eye view of a tornado like we did that day.
But on the ground, 3 families sharing a holiday cabin on the side of an American lake have come face to face with the tornado, its winds spiraling at up to 500 miles an hour. One of the fathers, Bob Goodry, had his video camera rolling, and as the skies darkened, he couldn't take his eye from the viewfinder.
Oh my gosh. You get your cloud movement that way, and you get your cloud movement this way.
Look at their funnels. Na, 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 na.
We realized that something could be brewing up, but it looked like it was going to just go out on the lake.
Power line just went out. Look at them. Power line, I'm getting every power line out.
At that point, I knew I better get inside and seek shelter. I was trying to persuade my husband and Bill to come inside, and they wouldn't come.
It's very rough. Here it goes. Here it comes. Here it comes. It's right out here. I'm 10 feet from it, and all the electricity, all the power lines are going.
I saw the lightning, and I just said, I'm sorry, guys, I've seen enough, and I'm leaving, and I came into the cabin.
Oh, it's coming right at your house. Look at that.
Yeah. It's coming right at the house. We're going to have to go in a minute. It's either that or do or die.
I kept thinking as I was filming it that if it did come at us, we were just going to dive out onto the dock.
Look at it. You can see it. You can see it. It is totally incredible.
It was just kind of, when I first saw it, I'm like, Dad, get inside, get inside. Kind of like, how could you stand out there that long?
I went to the door again and just more or less begged Bob and Bill to come in. And they wouldn't come.
We were all there probably longer than we should have been, but we were fascinated by the whole thing, and we stayed out there and kept filming.
I felt angry that my husband could be so dumb to get so close to a tornado like that. I told him to increase his life insurance.
It's just totally incredible. It's right outside.
My mom was hovering over me, and I was screaming.
I remember looking off to my right and seeing a big tree just thud a foot or so past our window and just being terrified.
Don't stand by the windows.
I want to see more of it, so I rushed over to the window to look out, you know, and everyone's saying, get away from the windows, and all of a sudden, boom.
It felt as though all of the air in the cabin were being sucked out.
Are you guys okay?
The worst part was hearing things breaking, hearing glass breaking, hearing the wind be so strong, and you don't know what's going on with the rest of your house. All you know about is what's going on in that little room.
Are you guys okay? The windows are totally blown out.
When I was in the bathroom, I just remember trees falling down and hearing big crashes and booms. I thought the second floor of our cabin had collapsed or something. That's, you know, how much noise and power it made.
I knew the tornado was over. When the wind started dying down, we could see a rainbow. I was relieved that nobody got hurt.
We walked outside and we saw all the destruction and the damage, and it was just really sad.
This is what did to the yard. It's the house. You can just see these big trees just totally took everything. Trees right up into the house, smashed everything off.
The whole lake was full of debris. Every boat was just turned upside down.
They're draining the boats out, whatever's left of them. Boatless are all shot.
We were all extremely lucky we're alive. I think by rights we shouldn't have been. We probably did everything wrong.
You could say that. And while we're talking about doing things wrong, remember when 2 false starts wrecked the Grand National, making it what the headlines called the Grand Farcical? Well, you could call this one the Great Escape. The 450 at Newmarket. No one's ready for the start, but the gates are faulty and spring open, and they're off.
People dashed out to try and bring them to a halt, but the horses had none of it. And as far as they were concerned, they were in a race. Okay, they didn't have a jockey with them, but that was a little bit less weight to carry. Even more of them now have got loose and coming up the track.
But one jockey had been on his horse when the gates opened.
The horses, when they were loose, they tend to run together. They follow one another. I had no control over my horse. It's just a little bit winded. The horse was fine. It's just got up and galloped off.
People were flapping their arms trying to stop them, but there's nothing they can do about it.
My horse was quite happily running across the car park and up the main road.
It was certainly a good day out for the horses. A few saw a little bit of Newmarket High Street that they don't normally see.
I expect they were looking for the bookies. After the break, caught on camera, plane's crash at the world's biggest military air show. Another crash, and the moment a man knew he'd survived.
We're alive. We've survived.
And 1 life down, but will it be 8 to go? Hold your breath. We'll be back soon.
forget the first time I discovered paradise. I fell in love with the exotic sensation. It was so moist and tender, and I realized I was surrounded by paradise. And once you've tasted paradise, you never want to leave. Bounty, the taste of paradise.
Like nature, your skin renews itself by shedding the outer cells. New from Nivea Visage comes a new day cream with natural AHA complex. It gently stimulates the skin's top layer, revealing the younger skin beneath. New day cream with natural AHA complex from Nivea Visage.
Excuse me, love, where do you want this? Chicken. Now everybody's heard about the word. The bird's eye chicken's the word. Well, the bird's eye chicken's the word.
Bird's Eye Chicken Marinades. A new way to enjoy chicken. Made with succulent white breast coated in a delicious marinade. Only the best chicken passes the Bird's Eye.
Now caught on camera, the world's biggest military aviation show, the International Air Tattoo. Enthusiasts gather at RAF Fairford in Gloucestershire to see spectacular Top Gun flying displays. The year of the RAF's 75th anniversary was the best show yet. Local people got a grandstand view from a farmer's field next to the airbase fence as 415 planes took part in the show.
I think Fairford is the pinnacle of most enthusiasts' calendar, and for all the aircraft that come from all over the world.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the International Air Tattoo on RAF Fairford. We get about 150,000 people there. This was the first day. It was an extremely exciting day. It was the 75th birthday of the Royal Air Force. There were all the crowds there. It was just a great occasion.
It was the first time we'd been out to see the air show. My cousin asked us if we wanted to go over and sit on a trailer which the farmer had put out for us to see the displays.
My son and I wanted to get higher, so we climbed a nearby grain bin, which is about 30 feet high.
Over the trailer and that, sat down on the trailer on some hay bales and stuff, get comfy and that, ready to watch the show.
I think the Russian MiGs are one of the highlights of any air show.
Two pilots were from the Flight Research Institute, Zhukovsky near Moscow. That's a sort of Russian equivalent of NASA. And they were there to provide something we'd never seen before. They were doing a synchronized display.
I always take my camera wherever I go. I didn't feel like I was one of the crowd because I'd zoomed in so close to him, it was almost like sitting in the actual cockpit with the pilot.
Ultra low. Towards the end of the display, they were following each other round a loop on opposite sides. Unfortunately, the cloud base had come down a bit. They both went into cloud. They couldn't see each other. So they decided to go for the breakaway maneuver, which would take them to safety. But the second aircraft, in an effort to avoid the cloud, caught the first one up. The first one thought he was ahead of him, broke away and flew straight into him.
I couldn't really believe what I was seeing, and it all happened so fast. Straight away there was people behind me shouting and screaming.
I saw the two planes collide. I saw a wing fly off one. I saw bits going everywhere. When I watched it afterwards, there was a band playing, actually really weird to me, with all this going on in the sky that I was seeing, and they weren't. My son said, "Look at that," and I turned back to look. The plane was coming straight for us, completely encircled in flame, and there was nowhere to go.
told everybody to run. Realised my mum sort of was basically froze there, like, you know, and she wasn't moving, and grabbed her somehow, I don't know, and we just ended up on the deck, basically.
And the people on the trailer were incredibly lucky because the aircraft crane through the fence virtually feet away from the trailer, feet away from where the people were sitting. So they were very, very lucky.
I was just rather hoping that I would see a little dot of the pilot come out. The parachute opened very quickly. Panning back, the other one came into view. He'd already ejected, and it was a big sigh of relief.
Both pilots were amazingly cool as cucumbers. They walked away from their parachutes just looking as if it was another day for them. One of them even stopped to light up a cigarette.
They may have looked cool, but back in Russia, the pilots were given a roasting. Those MiG jets cost £25 million each. And the people in the hay trailer were indeed lucky. It had been moved when a plane blocked their view. If it hadn't, they would have been in the path of the crash. That moment of suddenly realising you've survived the impossible is captured in this video. Keith Borland was in a small plane over Greenland and in big trouble.
Iceberg ahead.
We began to realise we weren't going to make it. We had problems with the navigational aid. We were low on fuel and the weather was atrocious. The wing struck the ice. The undercarriage was ripped off. And we just waiting for it all to end. But it didn't happen. It was amazing. This was really a non-survivable accident.
We're alive, my boy. We're alive. We've survived. Oh, I can't believe it.
The pilot had sustained injuries to his chin and he was packing the gash with cold snow.
Thank you, God. Is life ever good? Look at it.
I neither felt the cold or the injuries that I'd sustained. Just this feeling, the adrenaline, the elation, the feeling of actually being alive.
We survived! Is life ever good?
Amazingly, Keith Borland had another lucky escape when he flew back to Britain. The passenger airliner he was on had a near miss. By then, he must have begun to wonder. Finally tonight, a kitten whose 9 lives are all up at once. When fire struck a trailer home, the human occupants only had time to get themselves to safety. But as firefighters searched the smouldering wreckage, they heard a noise.
And I had heard cats. They sounded like little kitties. When we were done with the search, we were satisfied that there weren't any people left. We went back and found the cats.
There ended up to be a total of 5. One of these kittens was in bad shape, showed no signs of life at all.
I was shooting video and noticed a firefighter bending over. So I zoomed in on him and noticed he was holding something in his hand. He was working on a kitten, a little tiny kitten, and he was giving it mouth-to-mouth resuscitation.
I don't think this is gonna work.
I scaled down the process for the kitten based on the knowledge that I have for our fellow man. I used lighter breaths of air, lighter compressions on the chest.
This is going a little bit beyond the call of duty to something like this, you know. I thought, well, if he's doing this, get our oxygen and see if that'll help. First little shot, it kind of made a little jerk, like it's gonna do some good, you know.
I was a little concerned that we might blow too hard into the poor little animal, but Lenny was real gentle and real careful.
I kept with it. I started stimulating the kitten's spine by rubbing my fingernails on it to try and make the kitten respond.
I was wondering to myself why Lenny was trying to save a kitten's life.
I've had pets all my life, and I know how important it is to have a pet and to lose a pet. After 12 to 14 minutes, the kitten started to respond by moving its legs, taking breaths of air. The eyes opened up. We actually saw this kitten come back to life.
When he held it up to my camera to show that, you know, here it is, he's alive, I was just like, this is it, we've got a hero. He tells me that it's his job to save lives, no matter what kind of life it is, if it's human or if it's an animal life.
Firefighter Lenny Rouse adopted the kitten he saved. He called it Smudge, fire brigade slang for a small fire. And that's it. We hope you've enjoyed Caught on Camera. The address to send tapes for future programs is coming up. But if you should find yourself in a situation like those you've seen tonight, don't push your luck. For now, goodbye. If you have a tape you think we'd be interested in for future editions of Caught on Camera, please send it to Caught on Camera, LWT, the London Television Centre, London SE1 9LT. And mark your name and address clearly on the tape so we can return it.